This is a quick lesson about both the treble clef and the bass clef and the pitches that correspond to the treble clef and the bass clef. This is required material for the choir, so hopefully this is of help to you. The very first clef we talk about is called our treble clef. If you've seen it before, this treble clef is also called the G clef. It's called the G clef because where you see this curl around, this is actually an old style G when people used to do calligraphy, and this surrounded this particular line. Any pitch that is here on the treble clef is always G. So if you don't remember anything else, remember that this treble clef is also called the G clef, and that where this swirls around surrounds G, the pitch G. So that's your starting point for that, for the treble clef. Now on this treble or G clef, each of the lines is represented by a letter name. You have a choice of letter names: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then it repeats. It doesn't go any higher than G, it just stays at G. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an acronym here, and you may remember this from elementary school, but when we're talking about the lines of the treble clef, the acronym is Every Good Boy Does Fine. So, for instance, any pitch that occurs here is always going to be D. That's the pitch. D, it's on this line here. Every good boy does fine, or Ernie gives Bert dead fish. That works too. For the space pitches, it spells a word. It rhymes with space. We call it face. F-A-C-E. Now, I'm not sure if you notice a pattern or not, but there is a definite pattern here of pitch letter names. If you take a look starting on A, if you go one more note up, so one note occurs here, one pitch occurs here, the next pitch occurs here, A, B, C, D, E, F. So, say we wanted to add a pitch right here, it'd be the next space, or say right above F, what comes naturally in the alphabet. That would be considered a G. So when we come downward, when we go downward in pitch, the letter names go backward. So what's right before A? Well, G is the very last thing. F, E, if you were to have a pitch right here, it would be D. So if this is already too much for you, I would just stick to the Every Good Boy Does Fine and face for the treble clef, otherwise known as the G clef. You will be asked to name pitches that are outside of the realm of the staff. That is the 5 lines and 4 spaces. It's called our staff. If we want to go above and below, sometimes you'll have a pitch occur here, the next line up. Well, just by going by your pattern, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we can't go H. There's no more pitches named that, so we have to go back to A. And just in the same way, if you had another pitch in what would be considered the next space, it would be B. And this would go on and on and on until humans can't hear it anymore, but that's the way that we name the pitch frequency. These lines that we use in order to write pitches higher are called ledger lines. They also can work below the staff. So just as we were going upward here, we're going backward here. F, E, D, one pitch below on the next line on a ledger line would be C. The next space down, take a moment to guess, it would be B. And that continues on and on and on and on.